The movement, now popularly known as Obi-Datti Movement, is a political movement championed by Nigerian citizens at home and abroad with the primary aim of mobilization of support for the presidential ambition of Mr. Peter Gregory Obi and his running mate, Mr. Yusuf Datti, both of whom are desirous of leading Nigeria as president and vice president. In this video, we take you down memory lane for purpose of documenting for this generation and for the next generation the history of this movement, its support base, its philosophy, the vastness of its acceptability across the various states of the Federation of Nigeria and beyond. Welcome to this edition of Back in History. Nigerian citizens had started lending support for Peter Obi's aspiration for the Nigerian presidency some years back, but the support was not this massive. On serving out his tenure as the governor of Anambra State, several persons had started beckoning on him to take a shot at the presidency. Peter took his first shot at the presidency in 2019 when he was selected as running mate to Atiku Abubakar under the platform of the PDP. Atiku did not win the election, and Peter by implication did not become the vice president of Nigeria. But Peter Obi did not relent. He continued to engage Nigerian citizens on the critical issues affecting Nigeria as a country. He accepted invitations from several TV stations where he offered insight into the problems of the country and also proffered what he considered to be the solutions or way forward. Peter also honored invitations from professional bodies where he spoke at their gatherings as guest speaker or discussant. Nigerian citizens were carefully watching and following him closely. In early 2022, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) opened the window for political parties in Nigeria to begin the sale of nomination forms for aspirants. On 18th March, the People's Democratic Party started the sale of its presidential nomination forms to prospective aspirants. The form was sold for 40 million naira. Mr. Peter Obi purchased the form and announced his interest to contest for the top Nigerian job. Obi, however, observed the activities within and around the party and may have come to the irresistible conclusion that the presidential ticket of the PDP might not be fairly contested for, and especially that money may be required to lobby the delegates for vote, a practice that does not sit well with Obi as a person. Obi then decided quickly, before the PDP primary election, to leave the PDP and move to another political party. In doing this, he left behind the 40 million naira which he spent in the purchase of the nomination form of the PDP. Under the Nigerian law, a candidate for any elective office must be sponsored by a registered political party. There is no provision for independent candidacy in Nigeria as at today. Obi then needed to pitch his tent with a political party of his choice. He then moved to the Labour Party, from where he emerged as the presidential candidate of the party for the 2023 general election. This decision became a turning point in Peter Obi's political calculation for the Nigerian presidency. Citizens moved with him in body and soul, and for them, it did not matter that Obi did not pitch his tent with one of the major political parties in the country. What is important to the citizens is the Obi personality and the promises it offers for an already beleaguered country. This is how the real Obi movement started. Every presidential candidate must have a running mate. Peter Obi is from the southern part of Nigeria and needed to have a running mate from the northern part of the country to balance the political equilibrium. It was widely reported that he first rooted for Rabiu Kwankwaso, a former governor of Kano State and the leader of the Kwankwasiya movement. But events later showed that Kwankwaso did not agree to serve as running mate to Obi Obi and the Labour Party then rooted for Yusuf Datti, who then became Obi's running mate. The movement then began to be referred as Obi-Datti Movement. In no time, the movement became infectious and was on the lips of millions of Nigerian citizens, cutting across age, religion, ethnicity, culture, language, and many more. In no time still, the obedient word was coined for the movement, and the word became an article of identification for the supporters of Mr. Peter Obi and Datti Yusuf. It became a word in everyday lexicon in Nigeria. People started gathering themselves into groups and multiplying by the day and spreading across the Federation of Nigeria. As at the time of the making of this video, there is no state in Nigeria without the presence of the Obi movement. The movement started small, but today it has grown into a mass mobilization vehicle, with children convincing their parents to join the movement, parents convincing their children, husbands convincing their wives, wives convincing their husbands, and friends trooping out with friends to join in the movement. For reasons that still look like mystery, it has become very easy for people to sign up to the movement without much ado and without much convincing. Obi has thus become an indisputable option for the Nigerian citizens. The social media has also played a key role in the mobilization of citizens for the Obi-Datti presidential aspiration. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all other social media platforms have become awash with write-ups on the Obi movement. Nigerians in diaspora are not left out of the Obi-Datti movement. They have identified with the group in all countries of the world: Canada, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, Sweden, Switzerland, South Africa, Ghana, Russia, Australia, and many other countries. Meetings have been held abroad with Peter Obi in attendance, and rallies have also been held with Nigerian citizens boldly adorning the insignia of the Obi-Datti movement. One significant aspect of this movement is the fact that it is self-sponsored. Unlike what is applicable in other political parties in Nigeria, where citizens are usually paid to attend political rallies in support of candidates, under the Obi-Datti movement, citizens sponsor their transportations and buy printed t-shirts, face caps, and posters for every Obi-Datti rally. The citizens are even ready to make financial contributions to support the Obi-Datti movement. Analysts have said that any day Mr. Peter Obi and his running mate make it public that they have satisfied the requirement of the Electoral Act and are ready to accept voluntary donations, the target sum might be met in less than 24 hours from the announcement. So far, rallies have been held in Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Jos, Plateau, Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, Anambra, several northern states, and many other states in the south, all in the bid to create awareness and mobilize more and more support for the presidential ambition of Mr. Peter Obi and his running mate. In the coming days, Nigeria is sure to witness more rallies by the movement, the ban on political campaigns having been lifted by the Electoral Commission. As part of the history of the movement, it is important to note that over the few months of the life of the movement, some attempts have been made by some individuals to downplay on the potency of the movement. Reno Omokri, a former presidential aide to President Goodluck Jonathan, took to his social media handles not long ago and dismissed the Obi movement. Obi supporters responded to his comment. Dino Melaye, a former senator and current spokesman of the Atiku Abubakar campaign team, has also downplayed the potency of the movement. Daniel Boala, a lawyer and another spokesperson for the Atiku campaign team, has also downplayed the potency of the movement. Rabiu Kwankwaso also said that the movement cannot win the presidency for Obi, especially in the north where Kwankwaso is from. Other persons have said that the movement has no physical structure and that without physical structure, no one can win election in Nigeria. Several other persons have made one dismissive comment or the other about the movement. One surprising thing, however, is that the more people attempt to play down on the movement, the more the movement becomes popular, with more people signing up in support of the Obi presidency. At the annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association held in Lagos State in August 2022, on the arrival of Mr. Peter Obi at the conference hall at the popular Eco Hotel, lawyers broke protocol and rose to their feet and gave a rousing welcome to Mr. Peter Obi. For several minutes, the Chief Judge of Lagos, who was addressing the conferees, could not continue with his speech. He had no option than to wait for a moment. In September 2022, on his arrival at the JF Kennedy Airport in the United States, where he was scheduled to address Nigerians in New York, Peter received a rousing welcome. In August 2022, Peter visited Pastor Tunde Bakare's church in Lagos, and the welcome that he received was massive. He has also been warmly received at the Dunamis Church in Abuja. When he visited the redemption camp of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, one of the mega churches in Nigeria, Obi also received a rousing welcome from the worshippers. Obi and his running mate Datti have also received a rousing welcome from people cutting across the Federation of Nigeria. Through the Obi-Datti Movement, citizens have been mobilized to register at various parts of the country for the permanent voters card, which is to serve as the access card for voting. It is possible that the technical brains behind the Obi-Datti Movement are currently working on modalities to come up with more innovative ideas in their bid to strengthen and sustain the ideals of the movement preparatory to the eventual casting of votes for their candidate in the forthcoming election. So far, it has been observed that their rallies are peaceful and mostly escorted through the major streets by members of the Nigerian Police Force and the Civil Defense Corps. Some analysts have described the Obi-Datti movement as, quote, unprecedented in the modern history of Nigeria. Others have described it as, quote, divine movement. Whatever the best description may be, what is true and difficult to dismiss is the fact that the Obi-Datti movement has become a strong political movement to reckon with. It appears that anyone who ignores or dismisses the movement with a wave of their hand does so in serious political miscalculation. Many thanks for watching this episode of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel for regular notifications.